why did the nuclear industry have the need for Yucca Mountain? What was the problem with Yucca Mountain? And what's the new long-term solution? Great questions. So the need for Yucca Mountain is simply the same need you have for any kind of industry. Whenever we're going to control nature, we create waste. It's like the second law of thermodynamics in an industrial scale. Now, most of the waste that you're familiar with, from household trash and so forth, that goes to a sanitary landfill. Now, obviously, you're not going to stick that in your basement, right? If you put that trash in the basement, it would stink to all high heaven, and it would become a health hazard. Now, that doesn't mean that it's inherently dangerous. It just means that we need to safely store it. We know how to safely handle sanitary waste. It goes to a landfill, and you just don't let it sit around so long that it becomes putrid. It's not that difficult to figure out once you understand what the hazard is. Now, there's a lot of other kinds of waste, and those have other unique hazards that require appropriate mitigation. It could be biologics, right, from a hospital, where there could be issues with diseases. It could be, say, sharps or glass. Those require different kinds of handling to safely mitigate the hazard if it's going to be sent off for trash. There can be other hazards. You could have hazardous materials, PCBs, heavy metals, a lot of other kinds of hazardous materials, acids, corrosives, explosives, things that need to be disposed of that have unique hazards, and they require appropriate controls to mitigate those hazards. Now, those can be in transportation and they can be in disposal. You could have certain disposal requirements to make sure that that hazard's been mitigated, and certain travel requirements, and they're all unique to that particular waste. And there's no different when it comes to the nuclear industry. It's a particular hazard, and it requires a particular mitigation to make that a safe path for disposal of that waste. And for transportation, we largely just require shielding. There are some other controls that go in there. And similarly, for final disposal, what you need is just good geology. A great example is the WIPP site. It's about a mile thick of water evaporites, about a half a mile of sodium chloride and about a half a mile calcium sulfate. Water evaporites from an ancient seabed. And so that's extremely stable. That stuff is extremely stable, and that makes for good disposal of spent nuclear fuel or any other nuclear waste. And it really comes down to that. If you put a big hole in some stable geology, long term that sticks around until it just becomes dirt again. The WIPP site, 200 million year old salt, it's going to stick around for at least another 100 million years. That's good geology. It's a good place to deal with it, and it's cost effective.